Uganda is actually a country of great potential, both in economic and political terms, because here we have got several centuries of relative organization. Now, in Uganda here, paradoxically, although Uganda has now almost the most has been almost the most backward politically in Africa. For instance, if you compare in East African terms, we are the ones who have been having constant turmoil, while others have been having stability. And I can say that in a very short time, we have evolved a very broad-based mass movement. It is multi-ideological. We have all sorts of shades of opinions here. But we are trying to say one line must be leading, the nationalist line. That's the minimum position we accept. If you're not a nationalist, we don't accept you. Or eventually we shall fight you. There are some socialists here. There are some capitalists here. There are also some feudalists. They are all there. So the only thing you want is that you should be nationalist. Whatever your ideology is, you must support Uganda's independence. And you must support Uganda's unity. And you must support Africa's unity. And you must support Africa's independence. That's all.
Welcome back to Owanapaedia, the one-stop center for Uganda's history and the history of the rest of the world. Tony Geoffrey Owana in action and Herbert Semiano in charge of all operations. We are at the Uganda International Conference Center in 1988, where Dr. Besigye has just invited the President of Uganda to speak. And when the President came to speak, he launched into his favorite topic of Uganda not having been created by an act passed in Britain in 1894, as many of us have been led to believe. But he says the rudimentaries of a Ugandan state were already existed even before the Wazungu came. To the present day, Museveni still maintains that. Let's take a brief look at what Yoweri said on that historical occasion when former President Mwalimu Julius Nyerere was here.
And therefore, I take this opportunity and honor to call on His Excellency, the President of Uganda, to come forward and greet you and be able to invite our guest of honor for this morning to address us. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, Mwalimu, Chairman of Chama cha Mapinduzi, and a renowned African freedom fighter, and also a great friend and close ally of the people of Uganda, and all of you, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, the other day I was with you discussing the budget of 1988-89. The purpose of coming here today is to listen to some words from Dr. Nyerere, so I will not say much. Only that, for the benefit of our guest, I will just point out one point, which in some ways resembles what Dr. Besigye said. Uganda is actually a country of great potential, both in economic and political terms, because here we have got several centuries of relative organization. As you know, one of the problems of Africa is that the process of state formation was still in its infancy in many places. In many places you found that people were still organized at a clan level. And when this clan level organization came face to face with more organized groups who were organized as empires, as nations, we could not withstand. These people were more organized. Even today, this is the same problem. You get the Soviet Union. Soviet Union is a state which includes European nations, very big European nations. A nation like the Russian nation within the Soviet Union alone is 145 million people. That is what you may call a province of the Soviet Union. Then you add on that the Ukrainian nation, then you add on the Belarusia, then you add on the Asian nations which are in the Soviet Union. Now, then this big force comes to confront African groups which are organized as clans. Now, what chance do you have? What chance do you have? But this process of state formation, for instance, in Russia, in Soviet Union, was started by the old pharaohs, the old people, the Peter the Great, Catherine the Great. Now, in Uganda here, paradoxically, although Uganda is now almost the most the most backward politically in Africa. For instance, if you compare in East African terms, we are the ones who have been having constant turmoil, while others have been having stability. But paradoxically, we are the ones who started the process of consolidating African clans into African nations, and even some sort of supranational states. For instance, the Bachwez came and organized at one time, this Uganda was one state, one African state. All this what you call Uganda today, plus parts of northwestern Tanzania, plus parts of Zaire, we are one political state. This was under the Bachwezi. Now that crumbled, it disintegrated. Then another state came up, the Bunyoro Kitara state, empire they called it. It also organized, tried to unite these people. But it also broke down for reasons which I have not had time to study. Then by the time the Europeans came, other states were coming up, the Uganda state, the Bunyoro state, they were now in conflict with one another. But people had, although had achieved some level of organization, unfortunately, during the time of the colonial struggle, of the anti-colonial struggle, we had emerged in leadership people who were not equal to the task, I'm afraid to say, because they were just thinking in terms of sectarian groups. So they took a wrong political line. Now, because they took a wrong political line, the whole thing was messed up. So all the problems of Uganda which you hear of, as Besigye said, are not economic. They are primarily political and ideological. So we, the young people in the 60s, not this, some of us, and as you know, Mwalimu, some of us were very active in the student movement in East Africa. But our initial involvement in the student politics was actually propelled by our disgruntlement with the status quo here, the political status quo. Eventually we linked up with other freedom fighters in Africa, and that helped us to sharpen our own understanding. And eventually with the students we came back here and started now a mass movement in which we involve the peasants. So now you see this synthesis which you have here. Synthesis of revolutionary students merging with the peasants. Of course, we have also got our traders and everybody, they are also here. But we are trying to give them a nationalist consciousness. And I can say that in a very short time we have evolved a very broad-based mass movement. It is multi-ideological. We have all sorts of shades of opinions here. But we are trying to say one line must be leading. The nationalist line. That's the minimum position we accept. If you are not a nationalist, we don't accept you. Or eventually we shall fight you. But if you are a socialist, there are some socialists here. There are some capitalists here. There are also some feudalists. They are all there. So the only thing you want is that you should be nationalist. Whatever your ideology is, you must support Uganda's independence. And you must support Uganda's unity. And you must support Africa's unity. And you must support Africa's independence. That's all. So this is the animal you have before you, Mwalimu. You may come and talk to us and give us your own, whatever you want to tell us. Most welcome.
Perhaps that is the shortest speech President Yoweri Museveni has ever made. It didn't go beyond 10 minutes. And he then invited, as you have heard, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere to speak. Please subscribe to Owanapaedia, your one-stop center for the history of this country, and you will not be disappointed. We are coming back.
First of all, I would like to thank you very much, Comrade President, once again for this opportunity you've given me to visit Uganda this time, and also to take your time to take me around to several parts of Uganda to see the problems of your country and what is being done in trying to cope with those problems.